They've won Tonys and Oscars and Emmys and Grammys. There's no red carpet 'cause they're home in their jammies. From Melrose Place to Broadway to Janeway and her crew. Let Seth and James bring all the stars to you.
Anywho.
They're entertaining everyone, so who's gonna grouse? Just sit right back and you'll hear some tales on Stars in the House.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stars in the House. I'm James Wesley.
And you may know me as Seth Rudetsky. What?
What is that? Are you auditioning for Bold and the Beautiful?
I wrote it on all my children. I need to complete my character arc on Bold and the Beautiful. We are Stars in the House. We're a live stream that began when everything shut down last March. And ever since then, we've been raising money for the Actors Fund. However, every once in a while, we take a worthy charity and we raise money for them. Like we had the Humane Society, we had the Trevor Project, we had
You Gotta Believe.
You Gotta Believe to help older foster kids find homes, and Cancer Support Community. This is our second Cancer Support Community.
Yes, it is.
We got into Cancer Support Community through our good pal Jason Daniely, Broadway star, and now we love them. He told us all about them. So we're dedicating tonight's Bold and the Beautiful amazing cast members to raise money for Cancer Support Community. How do people...
And by the way, and we used Gilda's Club services, which is now part of Cancer Support Community. Back when my mom was diagnosed with ovarian and uterine cancer, what was that, 11, 12 years ago? And she's
fine.
And yes, we just played Rummy Cube right before this. But yeah, Gilda's Club was a lifesaver. Both me and Julie, who was, how old was Julie at the time? 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
In their support services. We love them.
Yeah,
so,
Cancer Support Community is like an umbrella organization that funds all these great organizations that help people and their families with cancer.
And you'll hear more about that, especially from the CEO of Cancer Support Community, Linda Bohannon, who's going to be here, but also from Katherine Kelly Lang, who's going to be speaking with us in a minute. But Seth, tell people how to donate.
Oh, I think they still go to Stars in the House?
Yes, they still
great.
do.
Okay, so if you go to our website, StarsInTheHouse.com, you will see a place to donate for Cancer Support Community. Donate there. Then you're going to get a receipt. Forward that receipt to donations@StarsInTheHouse.com, and then we will email it or text it to one of our Bold and the Beautiful stars tonight, and they will read your name and donation while pretending to make out with someone to keep it sort of all connected to a soap opera sassafras.
That's right, because in addition to Kelly, we've got John McCook and Heather Tom. Anything you want to say about Love Boat last night before we move on?
Oh yeah, we love having our TV show reunions. It's nice to have 2 in a row. Last night was Love Boat, and everyone was amazing, and Charo was there.
Charo was everything that I had hoped when I watched the Love Boat when I was a kid that she would be. Charo was Charo.
She was by the way, a size 0. Second of all, wearing the most stunning outfit in a colorful studio. Like she was Charo. Like she was guest starring on our show as Charo. Like, you know what I mean?
And so kind and so
nice.
Sweet, and it was fun to see all the cast, even though they knew that Charo was going to be on the show. Everyone was all the cast members were so happy to see her, and it looked like they were surprised. I don't know if they were surprised to see Charo would have a studio like she did. It looked like it was in her home, but she had created like a Charo-like studio with all the colors. If you didn't see yesterday's show,
it was so joyous looking.
Yeah, very joyous.
When did Bold and Beautiful begin? 1987.
1980. Very good, Seth.
Well, I remember you saying that to me because I don't know why I'm supposed to be impressed by Jay. I'm old enough to remember when Bold and Beautiful started. Okay, so am I. The hell? Why is that impressive? God, I've never.
Oh my
I gotta pull it back.
All right.
Okay,
well, I say we get started, and we bring on Kelly, whom we met in December when we actually were honored. We had we were honored by Cancer Support Community.
It's called the Founders Award.
I just happened to have it right
here. Wow, that's
South.
so needy.
I mean, we were very touched. In fact, truth be told, I was like, "Are you sure you meant this email from me?"
No, we're like,
Seth?
it's a different James and Seth.
But they were. It was a really beautiful event that we had December 7th, all virtual. It was the Founders Award for Resilience. Look, Kelly, because if you saw the picture, you have one just like it for all the work that you do, which is why we have you here today. So
wait, I actually like this filter. It's a youth filter. It's like a Lucio Ball meme. Do I look younger? Anybody?
It's so beautiful. All right, well, let me carefully put this on, and let's bring on the reason why we're here, Seth, right here,
Where is
Katherine
she?
Kelly Lang.
Hi, Katherine Kelly Lang.
Hi, Kelly.
Guys, good to see you.
Good to see you again. I love the outfit and the backdrop.
Thank you.
Wow.
Kind of goes well. It's like the caftans and then the kind of nitty gritty with the chains. Got some chains.
So first things first. Okay, you have 3 names, but do people call you Kelly, right?
Yes, I've always been called Kelly ever since I was a baby.
But professionally, I love the Katherine Kelly, the whole thing.
Yes, it all goes well. Katherine Kelly Lang. In fact, I was trying to use Kelly Lang when I was 17, when I was doing my first film. And SAG said, no, you can't do that because there's already a Kelly Lang. And she was the newscaster. And even though we spelled our last names different, they still wouldn't let me use it. So I had to use my first name, which is my first name, Katherine, and my middle name, Kelly. And Lang was my mother's maiden name. My dad's name was Wegeman. And if he was still living today, I don't think I would have changed my name to my mom's name.
Yeah.
But he did. I'll get into that story in a moment. But
shockingly, when I joined SAG, there was no other Seth Rudetsky. They're like, it's fine. You can keep it. I don't want it.
So Kelly, okay, well, we're gonna talk all things Bold and the Beautiful in a minute, but we met when we received this.
Yes.
In December.
Yes.
I know that you received the Founders Award for Spirit. How did you get involved, and why is cancer support community important to you?
Yeah.
I did receive that award, and I was in New York some years ago. I want to say 3 years ago, and it was a lovely evening and banquet, and it was a great time. But I was looking for a charity, for a cancer charity that would really help people the way that I always hoped they would, for a long time. And it was ever since my dad passed away. He passed away when I was 13. He was always this big, strong guy. He was the Jolly Green Giant on TV, if you remember him. Of
course.
Physique and always about health. And he brought us up very athletic and competitive and always doing things and outdoorsy. And then he got cancer, and it quickly took him downhill. Within 3 months, he had passed away. So I saw him going from big, healthy, strong guy to skin and bones and just, gray hair, then hair falling out. And then they were trying to do all last ditch efforts and took him down to Mexico, but nothing worked. And, as a young child, that's really devastating, of course, for anybody in the family. It was devastating. But at that age, it was confusing because I didn't understand what was happening, and they tried to explain, but also tried to shield us from what was really going on. And back then, I want to say it was 70s. Yeah, it was 70s, maybe mid 70s when he passed away. So there wasn't that much going on, I don't feel, as far as support for cancer patients and victims. And it was kind of a hush-hush thing back then, if you guys know what I'm talking about. And it was kind of like, don't talk about it. It's like, what? And I was so angry. I remember at that age, I was just so angry, like, what is going on? And why can't somebody help my father? Why can't there be a doctor out there that knows what to do? Or why don't they have alternative things? I don't know. I was just trying to think of all these things that could happen. And, I felt helpless, and there was not much to do. Nobody was there to help you feel better or answer your questions or anything. So for many, many years, I just wanted to get involved with some great organization, Found Cancer Support Community. They do so much. They have so many resources. $50 million every year is available to patients, cancer patients, cancer victims, and their families, and their caregivers, and their loved ones.
Right.
So there's so much out there. You just need to reach out and ask for help.
What is the money? What do people ask for money for? I'm so curious because there's so many different needs people have.
Well, it's not just money. It can be emotional support. It can be genetic testing. It can be nutritional counseling. It can be help guiding them through their finances or doing their insurance paperwork. I mean, it could be anything. Honestly, when this happens, when you're diagnosed with cancer, it's overwhelming. And you can't think of everything. You're kind of just thinking of yourself, what you're going to do, dealing with the doctors. You need help with everything else. And you just need somebody there to walk you through the process and know that somebody's got your back, So this organization is amazing for all of that. And I didn't even name half of the things that they can do for you.
Linda will take care of that, Kelly, midway through. It's fine. But you know what, Kelly, to your point, Cancer Support Community sent us a short little video of a patient, Diane, that I think will help explain and give people another reason to give to Cancer Support Community. StarsInTheHouse.com. And as Seth said, if you want Kelly to read your donations aloud, forward your receipt to donations at StarsInTheHouse.com. Okay, here we go.
Doctor took blood work, did a bone marrow biopsy, and came back with the news that I had CML, chronic myeloid leukemia. Never even heard of it before. And so began my journey with cancer. Then along came the other big C, COVID-19. No more social life. I live alone. I could no longer go out with my friends for lunch or dinner, no canasta, no mahjong. Luckily, I was involved with the cancer support community, and that has helped because our blood cancer networking sessions are on Zoom. So I still get a chance to see those people. And speaking about the cancer support community, I can't say enough about them and how they have helped me. One of the things that I got involved with was a painting workshop. And one day I was just messing around. My instructor was doing a beautiful job painting, and this is what I did. And halfway through this, I looked at it and I said, I have a name for this painting. I'm going to call it The Colors of Cancer. And if you look closely, you'll see right in the middle, there's a word written in yellow, and it says hope. And hope is what the cancer support community has given me. Thank you.
That's so beautiful.
That is so beautiful. That is so touching. You know, and that's a beautiful painting, by the way. She has a talent there that you didn't even realize. And that all brought it out. And also having somebody behind you and giving you that support and that hope really does help. But I hear so many of those stories. I've met so many people along the way, and also working with, and supporting and bringing awareness to cancer support community. I get to hear all these stories and their trials and tribulations and what they go through and how they could get through. And some people don't make it, and that's really, really sad. And it's really just also the struggle to go through the whole process of cancer, even if you do survive, and it's something that never really leaves you. So it's really touching, and it's just, we all need to help in some way.
It almost sounds like, it reminds me of like an IEP, which, kids with learning disabilities get. It's like each patient has their own need for help. The cancer support community tailors it specifically to what they need. Like, she lives alone as opposed to someone that has a family that has kids to deal with. It seems really amazingly individual what they do.
Yeah, very individual. So you can imagine the help. It's not just a wide array of things for people, whatever, but they're really there to help you walk through the process. I mean, they take your hand, with all that love and support, and they're really an amazing, nice group of people too, so you can't go wrong. That's for sure.
Kelly, before we bring on your two of your co-stars, I noticed in your bio something that really stuck out.
Jolly Green Giant Part 2
is you. Okay, you have to talk about the triathlon.
Describe what you had to do, because I almost threw up listening to it.
Yeah. Okay. How far did you swim? How far did you bike? How far did you run?
Okay, when I met my honey in 2013, he got me into triathlons, and I trained up to do a sprint triathlon. And I thought, wow, that was tough, but that was so much fun. I came in third. I'm like, I can do this. And so then I trained up to do a half Ironman, and then I did a few of those. And then I trained up to do the full Ironman. So the full Ironman it's 1.2 mile swim. I almost forgot. 1.2 mile swim, it's a 112-mile bike, and then it's a marathon. So you just do all three of those in a row.
Wait, how many days do you have to do that?
You don't. You have a limited amount of time. I think you have 17 hours. I did mine in 15:50 or something. Wow. So
in one day you do it?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't stop. You train up hard for this. Hey, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I just knew we had to talk about it for a second. Okay.
Yeah, it was amazing. Amazing experience.
Kelly, since these are your co-stars, do you want to introduce them, and then we'll bring them on?
Of course. Well, there's the wonderful, beautiful Heather Tom, very talented actor, director, everything. She's a mother, wife. What can I say? She's got many things going on in her life. And
Hi, Heather.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Nice to see you. I paid her to say all of those things.
We just worked together today. So
Yeah, we did.
and then yeah, that was fun. And then of course John
Yes.
McCook,
Yes.
who is John and I have been there from day one. So 1987, we're the two remaining people that have been there from day one.
Everything's a marathon with her. The marathon, this job is a marathon with her.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. 4 years now?
Almost.
Okay.
33.
Right, so almost
Wait,
34 years. How many, do you know offhand, each one of you, how many episodes of Bold and the Beautiful you've done?
I don't know. We celebrated the 8,000th episode a few months ago or a year ago. I don't know. What are we up to now? What was
We're
the
like 8,400 or something, 500. Yeah. I would say that you, Kelly, have been in like most of those.
Well, they have
most of them.
it every
More than
year.
I have, but yeah.
And they would show who has been in the most episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful, and I was always at the top of the list.
Yeah.
I don't
Kelly,
know.
do you still have every single episode memorized that you've done since the beginning?
No, I have to like cast it out of my brain when I leave the set, because then I won't be able to memorize what I have to do next week. You know,
We don't have them memorized when we do them. We don't have them.
We all have very good like short-term memories. Like it's like, okay, it's in the computer. Okay, and now it's out. And like it will never, like, don't ask me to like even go back and redo it because it's gone. Now it's gone forever.
Exactly. When you talk to an old Shakespearean actor, he can still do the Hamlet he did 50 years ago because that's long-term memory, because that was theater. But the soap opera is short-term memory. You got to get that out of there. You got to do another one tomorrow.
Yeah.
God, that's impressive.
I was going to say it'd be impressive if you just knew if you could name all the people you've been married to or engaged to on the show.
Well, that would be impressive for Kelly, for sure. like I've only had like two. I think two. So like, I'm like,
That's
bored,
it.
you know?
Well, because, soap operas are a lot about the love story and, the weddings and the glamour and all that. So I married John. I mean, John and I have been married
twice.
Twice.
a couple times.
Absolute love, and then once just to fool everybody. I was married to my late.
There you go.
Look at that. Wouldn't you marry her? Look at that. I married Stephanie and Eric were married like 4 or 5 times. Get married or go off with somebody like you or come back and then But I have a piece of paper here that tells me how many times I've been married and to how many people, but I can't find it. It's a big long sheet of paper.
And you didn't want to either.
We've only been married once. One of these days. Hey, we all want to know how you all got the jobs. I mean, I joke, but I did do All My Children. I had to audition for it, but I'm curious, like, did you guys audition or did they just write the roles for you?
Kelly?
Well, we all had to audition. Or I don't know, Heather, maybe they just.
I didn't have to audition, but I was on Young and the Restless for 13 years. And so I've known Brad since I was 15. And I went to New York for 4 years and did One Life to Live and All My Children actually as well. And when I was coming back to LA, he called me and he said, hey, I want to bring Brooke's sister on, Katie. And so do you want to play the part? And so I said, sure, sign me up. And 13 years now? 13 years, I think. Almost 14 years later. How'd that happen? That's how that happened. It's crazy.
I did my screen test with John. So John, when they brought me in, they read me and they said, oh, we like her. Let's bring her back. Let's put her on tape. And so I did it with John. John was playing another character, I think, but you were there to help, right?
Yep.
And he made me so comfortable and so sure of myself and made me believe that I could do it. And I swear I give him a lot of credit for me getting that part because
that's funny. Well, I'll take it. Yeah, I was very relaxed because I had Susan Flannery and I had been brought in by by Bill Sr. to play these two, the matriarch and patriarch of the show. And so I already had the job. I knew I was in, so it was cool. So it was a relaxed time for me to help you or anybody else. But I think I only tested you. And when she walked out of the room, we all said, she's the one. And everybody absolutely knew it. So, yeah.
Wow.
So Kelly, it went from we all had to audition to only you had to audition. But
That's right. Of this group, yeah.
I didn't even know.
Audition for my first go around, and then I guess I just kind of surfed onto other shows like after that. So
there you go. I mean, the question, because the question is like, for Bold and the Beautiful, when it started in '87, there was no way to know that it would be on the air 34 years later. But it also wasn't out of the question, because all the other soap operas that had daytime dramas that had been on for decades and decades, you know, there was a track record there. Did you think that you would be on for this long? Were you hoping that when you got the gig, it's like, wow, this is like the one thing actors never have, job security? Like, what's going through your head when you know, in the beginning?
That's exactly right. You know, the pedigree of the show is strong. It was CBS Daytime. It was the Bell Philip Company. Those things were there. And then when I came home after meeting with Bill and him asking me to do it, and I had done Young and Restless before as well, but then I wasn't. I was doing all kinds of episodic stuff and theater. And I said to my wife, I don't know if I want to do another soap. And my wife said, if it fails, it'll run for 5 years. Are you crazy? You know, and that's exactly the thing. When you've been on the road for years, or you've been doing theater or all the other things, episodic TV, and the show presents itself like this, and you look at the future and you go, you know, I got to do this. And it has proven it's gone way beyond my expectations.
Yeah, it's a good gig.
I don't know.
It's like,
Yeah,
it's
we all thought about
it. Job. We're so lucky to have it. And, you know, I think that it is kind of crazy, because you start going like, oh my God, I've been doing daytime for 30 years. And you're like, how did that happen? You know, it kind of, you blink and it's already like a decade later. But we're so lucky as actors to have that steadiness. Like that it's just unheard of. Like, it doesn't happen in this business. And
No.
you know, I mean, I really enjoy it. I love the kind of craziness about it and the pace and all that stuff. So I think we all feel really lucky.
We're all like a family. I mean, like we all seen each other, you know, get married, get pregnant, have babies. We know, you know, we've all grown up together, kind of. Yeah. So, and that's another thing great with the show is that you can work all through your pregnancy. You can have the baby, come right back to work, and bring the baby to your dressing room.
The baby with you.
Yeah.
Put the baby on the show.
Well, speaking of that, Heather, Seth had a question.
Yeah, because I saw this clip of you going into early labor and you were pregnant. Were you actually pregnant?
I was actually pregnant. Yes, I was actually pregnant. And Brad, thank God, wrote the pregnancy into the storyline, because first of all, there's no way you would have been able to hide my pregnancy. I mean, I was pregnant like all over. Like there was like some of these girls, they just have these like little basketballs and everything else is like perfect. That was not me. And I, of course, thought, I was like, oh, I look good. You can't even tell I'm pregnant from the time. I had my pregnancy goggles on and I was like, yeah, I look good. And then I see like footage of me and I'm like, oh my God. Like I was giant. So thankfully he wrote it in, but then he had Katie go into early labor like a month before I was supposed to leave. And I went to him and I said, you know, Brad, I'm not going to get any smaller. Like you can have Katie have the baby, but like I'm still going to like get bigger. And he's like, oh, don't worry. Women still look pregnant after they have babies. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, sure, fair enough. So yes, I had my premature birth and then continued to grow huge. And we actually kind of wrote it in, and like I was like, I can't lose the baby weight, and I feel awful. And so
even though you were still pregnant, you were about to give birth in real life.
Yeah, my God. So I really couldn't lose the baby weight because it was still like growing on me. Yeah. So yeah.
I have this cute clip of you into early labor, and it's so soap opera because of course the doctor comes out to help you and he's stunning. Like I've never had a doctor that looks like this. Let's just take a gander.
Hey, a little help with the wheelchair. My wife's having contractions. Thank you.
How many minutes apart? Oh, God. Another one.
I got you. Okay.
How many minutes apart?
I don't know. She didn't have one in the car.
Oh, what's your name? Katie Spencer. Did her water break?
No.
When did the contractions start? It's too soon.
Can you do something?
Spencer, I'm Dr. Mead, the attending. Dr. Casper is in surgery. She's finishing up. She'll be here soon.
I love that I'm still in like 4-inch heels. Did you notice that? Like I kind of stagger in my 4-inch heels. Like,
Wait, so
A doctor, actually.
then you were like, how many?
Doctor in 4-inch heels. That's why I was so tall.
I would say I would probably have like another 8 weeks to go there, maybe, or I don't know, maybe like 6 weeks. I honestly, I was so ridiculous. I was like, I told Brad, I said, this is when I'm having the baby. And he was like, oh, okay. And he like rode up to that time. And then of course my baby was 2 weeks late. And so I'm off and like, they're holding the show because I also told him, I was like, I can come right back to work. You don't have to write me out. Like, I'll come back. Just give me a week off. And like, which is no one should do that. It was a horrible mistake. Just a horrible, awful mistake. But I came back.
1 week off.
I took 1 week off, and
then you did a triathlon.
No, I did not. I think I might have done one the year after that. Well, okay, so Kelly and I, we were doing the sprints, and like we were doing the sprint triathlons, and then she took it to a whole other level, like a whole thing, and she's just like, she's a freak of nature. Like I can't even imagine doing any of that stuff. Yeah. So,
well, speaking of job security, we have to talk about The Bold and Beautiful. You were the first. I feel like you were the first production or TV show that went back into production. You kind of led the way safely.
Yeah, we were the first ones. Yeah, and we still, and it's been a long time actually, and we still work under very strict protocols. All of us do. Very strict.
So fantastic. So explain to the audience. We heard it the first time when we were talking about it months ago, but I don't think our audience has heard it. How do you guys do makeout scenes without, spreading COVID everywhere? What's the amazing trick you guys do?
Oh, we and kiss them instead. And they put the wigs to match like the guy who plays my husband. So my honey gets to come in. He puts a wig on that looks like Ridge, and then I get to kiss him. But they shoot kind of like from the side or the back of his head, and then onto my face. So,
but wait, so you all have?
Wait a minute. So hold on, like right here.
Yeah, that's it.
So who's who, Kelly?
So Dom is the one in the mask that looks like Italian flag. That's my sweetie, and then the other's Torsten K, who plays Ridge.
But wait, so you had to make sure that you.
By the way, I'm sorry, Seth. By the way, with the mask on and what they're wearing, talk about a great double that you just.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kelly, you purposely chose your husband based on if he looked enough like the guy you date on TV. It's shallow, but it worked.
Actually, no.
I mean, they're both the exact same size, height. They're both like
look at that
29-inch waist,
same skin color.
They dress the same for some reason. No.
Very funny. Very funny.
Well, the alternative is using a mannequin, which we have done from time to time, and that's very awkward and strange and thought-provoking, I have to say. So
we've all done that as teenagers. Have we all like kissed a poster of David Cassidy as a teenager? It's like the same thing, right? It's just like a cold.
Oh my gosh.
So is it a full?
I can take the mannequin over my husband coming in because I'm not that good of an actress. I can't. If I saw him, my husband is bald, and the guy that I'm with on the show has this like giant black pompadour, so they would have to put him in this like black wig, and I'm like, I'm not that good. I can't. There's no way.
You
bring out the mannequin.
Chose,
the mannequin it is.
The mannequin? Your
I
poor
choose
husband.
Oh my gosh. Well, so what is this, Kelly? We got this picture.
Oh, that's the mannequin. So that is Ridge. It's supposed to be Ridge, my husband.
I love it.
They shoot his side of it, right?
Oh.
And they take him out, put the mannequin in, and put me in and shoot my side, me saying dialogue to him. And
it's the eye line.
being we were standing so close, and on our set, we are not allowed to be 6. It was 8 feet. Now it's more like 6 feet. We cannot get closer than 6 feet to anybody. So, so that's why we do that.
But you know what? I'm sorry, Seth. But you know what? It works because it's like we have the CBS app and we were watching. It's like it's amazing how everyone at your show it isn't like, I don't know, jokey. It totally works, and I believe it. And it's funny because we got this this TikTok, that's like with the mannequin, and I'll play it, but I actually was gonna almost not play it because I could hardly tell the difference.
Yeah, it's easy to make fun of. Yeah, you're right.
We're all really just trying to make it work because we all want to go to work. I mean, our jobs are important to us, but it's not just us. I mean, we have a whole crew, and there are many, many people who depend on this job staying up and running. And so I think we all feel a sense of responsibility to be as safe as we can be. And if that means making out with a mannequin, then that's what we're going to do.
That's right.
But probably on top of that, I mean, as we all know, like those of us obsessed with soap operas, we love the story. And if our story stopped, we'd be traumatized. So you're really doing a service to people that are addicted to soap operas, because it would be hard if they had to wait a year to find out who made out with whom.
Exactly.
Yeah, look at it. See what you think, Seth. I don't know if you've seen this.
I haven't seen this TikTok yet.
Yeah.
See, I totally buy it. It's like
whoa,
it's great.
hubba.
And you do that. It's so creative.
It is amazing.
Yeah, it's like, I love it.
They've actually gotten a lot better at it too. They've gotten where like they'll take the mannequin off the stand, and the actor will hold the mannequin and then like bring it in. So like because for a while there, like you could tell because the mannequin wouldn't move and it was just super stiff. And so now like finagling it a little bit, it looks pretty good. I mean, like it's not egregious. It looks pretty good. So.
We have gotten better at it.
Yeah.
It's hard. Look, these shows, and we're talking about Valentine's Day, aren't we? But these shows, all of them are about intimacy. They're about relationship. And we can't even touch one another. We can't even caress my wife's hair or touch each other at the shoulders, let alone do a love scene. And so it's very difficult to play a scene with the three of us standing in 3 places on the set, far away from each other, and not have the intimacy of our familiarity going on. So I think it's terrific the way we've accomplished it, and the other shows too. It's great.
Right, and you've saved the Actors Fund needing to send millions more dollars between you and the other crews, because you're right, Heather. It's like, I'm sure you must easily have 100 people that work on your show, if not many more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, between crew and production staff and cast, and there are a lot of moving parts and a lot of people who depend on going to work every day. And so I think we've really taken that responsibility seriously, and I think that we did set the tone and set the example for the industry wide when we went back, and with our protocols and everything that we put in place. I mean, basically, like our production team came up with a lot of these things, and a lot of these other shows have kind of followed in our footsteps. Yeah. So you really have to credit, Brad and everyone, in production that was they started the day we went down, they started figuring out how we were going to go back. And so that we were, the minute we got the okay, we were ready to hit the ground running. And, I mean, like it is what it is. We're never going to be completely 100% safe when you're working with that many people, but I feel very safe. I feel like they're really, keeping our best interests at heart. And we haven't had really any positives. We haven't really had to shut down the show at all. And I know there have been a lot of shows that has not been true. And so
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we're one of the safest places, if not the safest place in LA to go to work to.
Yeah.
Wow. So great.
Kelly, you have some donations, I understand. You want to read them?
Oh, let me take a peek at the message here.
And then we're going to give John and Heather a little break, and then we're going to bring on Linda.
Okay, so I have this.
Go.
In honor of Katherine. Okay, in honor of Katherine. Am I supposed to read that part?
Yeah, we never did it.
Oh, I'm not sure what this is saying. In honor of Catherine Kelly Lang, $50 from Eva. It's already the 13th and thus my birthday here. So I'm sending a celebratory donation. Love from Isabel in Germany.
We love Isabel.
Oh, this is two different people. Okay, that's why I was confused, right? And this is, she sent $100. That's very sweet. You know, every little bit counts, and it's to help have all those resources through Cancer Support Community.
I love that Isabel's watching in Germany right now. What the hell time is it?
Oh,
I know, right?
Frontline, happy birthday.
It's
No,
9
it would-
ahead, right?
Oh, no, it's ahead. Yeah.
It's ahead.
Like 2 a.m. in the morning.
So I think we should bring on Linda. So Heather, we'll see you in a minute. We have a few more questions, and John. So let's bring on the CEO of the Cancer Support Community, Linda Bohannon. Hi, Linda. Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute, but you look great.
Yes.
Hold on. Who's
Yeah.
zooming?
There
who?
we go.
There we are. Hi, Linda.
Yeah, the quote of the year. You're on mute. Hey,
It
Kelly,
is,
how are
isn't
you?
it?
We're
It's
live.
lovely to see you guys.
You.
And
Great to
thank you,
see you.
Isabella, for that donation.
Don't you love that?
Yes, and Eva too.
And Eva, yes, thank you, Eva.
So, we touched a little bit on Cancer Support Community and how they kind of tailor plans for individual people. Is there more stuff you want to add to what you guys do? Because it seems like you guys basically do everything.
We do a lot, and I'm so proud of the organization. And I've been lucky enough to be involved with the organization since the 1990s. In some way, shape, or form. I think you know that I'm an oncology nurse for about 40 years now, and I've been a volunteer with the organization. I've sort of grown up with it, and I'm really proud of the work that we do. And, we have 175 locations around the world. Most of those are in the United States, where we are doing one-on-one support, group support, educational programming. We've been able to flip all of that to online. So the teams have really not, missed a beat in terms of being able to provide services for patients. And we have a telephone helpline that we're staffing patients. We do research. We didn't really talk about that, but we do research. And our research is really unique in that it helps elevate the patient voice so that when people are trying to make decisions about patient care or a new bill or law or insurance coverage, we can actually call them up and say, look, let me tell you what patients are saying about this and how this decision may impact them. And I'm very proud of the work that we do on the research side as well. But Kelly's right. We give away about $50 million in free care a year to patients in some way, shape, or form, whether it's the digital channels or through navigation.
So Linda, we heard Diane's story on that video.
Mm-hmm.
How else has coronavirus hit and impacted people living with cancer?
The biggest thing for people with cancer right now is this insecurity of being able to secure basic needs. And so people are really afraid, and in some situations aren't able to secure food, transportation, gas for their cars. So we've been able to do $250 vouchers to people to help them with those type of needs. And we've gotten so many letters from people just saying, look, this is food on the table for my family for the next month, or you helped keep the lights on in my house. And so that's been the biggest thing, is just getting those basic essentials. And then also getting into their care sites, not having transportation because their families. And I remember right after we did the show in May, I remember a woman calling us, and she lived in New York City, and her family was her major caregiver. She had metastatic breast cancer, and they were in Canada. So they couldn't cross the border to come and take care of her. So those are the kind of things that we've been really trying to deal with and help patients with. And, in all my time doing patient care, I've never really seen such great need and such diversity in what patients really need.
Well, things you take for granted, like when she was saying, when you're going through chemo, it would be nice to take a break and go play mahjong with your friends. And as she was saying, she can't even do that. So it's hard enough to have cancer, but these little things that can help you, you don't even have anymore. So it's really wonderful you're stepping up. I hope people watching will not only donate, but also if they know anybody with cancer, will recommend that they get in touch to help with something they may not even know they need help with.
100%. And our telephone helpline, and I know that you have the phone number, it's 888-793-9355. We can replay that for people. But, our dream is that'll be the first number that people with cancer call. Because as you know, when you hear those words, I have cancer, you sort of automatically go into that. What, what'd you say? And what language are you speaking? And now I'm in a time warp and I don't know what's really happening. Where we can really grab you and take you where you need to go. And the patients that I navigate, and I just spoke with someone today who's living in Hong Kong right now and helping her through her journey. But the first thing I say to people is, look, we've got you. And not only do I have you today, but we're going to do this together. And it'll be a step at a time, $1 at a time, a call at a time. But, we've got you. And I'm so proud of the team that we have across the cancer support community, because everyone that I work with is that way. And, if I could do anything, if I could ask anything, it is, if you are diagnosed with cancer, re-diagnosed with cancer, know somebody that is, call our number and just say, I don't know what I need, but I know that you can help me, and let's figure that out together.
Exactly.
Linda, I just wanted to show this. We got a lot of photos, but I don't think Seth has seen this one.
Whoa.
With LaChance and Jason and Marin Maisie.
Oh my God, Marin's dress is so beautiful.
Oh my gosh. I love this picture.
Oh,
yes.
That's beautiful gala.
Oh, and then this one, Kelly getting
wow.
Yes.
Jack Ford. Yeah.
That was very memorable.
That was such a fun night.
That was. Yeah.
So Kelly, you want to take a little break, and Linda, if you don't mind staying on, we're going to bring on Dr. John LaPook from CBS News. So Kelly, you take a break here, and Linda, if you don't mind joining and staying on, we're going to bring on our pal, Dr. John LaPook, Chief Medical Correspondent of CBS News.
And Stars in the House.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, John. How are you?
What great words you said. I mean, it's so true about everything you said was true, especially the need for emotional support. And I've had that conversation with patients, sadly, too many times, where you break the news and there's that initial conversation that you hope to do as empathetically and skillfully as possible with intense listening. But they go home, they're kind of hearing, not hearing, out of body a little bit. And you're so right that it's the support afterwards that's so important. And it takes a village. And right now, having that village be virtual makes it even more hard to give the kind of support people need.
Yeah. The stuff that everyone just took for granted. You have your mom come live with you for a couple months. It's not possible for a lot of people.
There's another side of this that Linda knows very well. But there's been a lot written about screening to prevent cancer has just took a nosedive in the first half of the year. Right. And it's making a little bit of a comeback now, but mammography screening for cervical cancer, colon cancer, skin cancer. And you worry about, when you think about the downstream effects of the pandemic, that may be one of them, that people who missed their appointments end up having, sadly, it come back to haunt them. And I would urge people not only to now, at a time when most medical establishments, certainly at NYU Langone Health where I am, there are real protocols that protect people when they come in. And when I do a colonoscopy on somebody, that not only am I wearing all sorts of gear, but the patients have to be screened. They have to get a negative COVID test beforehand. So I would urge people to talk to their providers about coming in for the screening. But in the meantime, Linda, would you agree, like all the self-exam stuff that I know the United States Preventive Services Task Force, you can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that doing self-skin exam helps to find early enough melanomas to make a difference, or self-breast cancer, self-breast exam makes a difference. I, in my own experience, have found it to be remarkably helpful. And I would say, I would want everybody out there to feel empowered. Nobody's going to know your body better than you. And I know a lot of women on self-breast exam, they say, well, I'm lumpy. I don't know. No, you will know. Most women in my practice, I've had one after the other of women who have found their own nodules. So you can do that at home in a pandemic. And one of them was like 2 millimeters. That was the smallest one somebody found. She said, you always told me that you would never laugh at me if I came in. I said, no. You can come in once a month, whenever. I will never laugh at you. She came in and it was a triple negative breast cancer.
Wow.
It was very aggressive.
Wow.
It's like 15 years ago. So same thing with skin cancer. Very quickly, the ABCDEs of melanoma detection. It doesn't mean you have melanoma, but if you see a mole and you're wondering, should I get this checked out? A, is it asymmetrical? So one side is not the mirror image of the other. B, are the borders irregular? So it could be symmetrical but scalloped or weird looking. C, color, black, purple, weird, change, darker than it was. D, diameter greater than an eraser, which is 6 millimeters, or E, evolving if it's changing. Now, people are going to forget that. So I will give you the Dr. Francesca Fusco, who's my dermatologist, told me the best thing, the ugly duckling sign. If it doesn't look like the other ducklings, if it just looks different, and then trust your instinct. Trust your instinct. The last thing I'll say is colon cancer. The warning signs we know, it's bleeding, change in stool, narrow stool, constipation, abdominal discomfort, and anemia, which can make you feel weak, and sometimes even black and tarry stool. So I know it's icky. People don't want to talk about it, but you don't want to die of embarrassment.
Get a damn colonoscopy so you don't get to that damn level, and get it and I always say get it as young as possible. That's my medical advice, which is not really
sound. The recommendation is to start at 45 if you're at average risk. You could be even younger if you have certain risk factors. And the amazing thing about screening colonoscopy, of course, I'm a gastroenterologist and an internist, so I'm kind of a dinosaur. I do both. But you can find a polyp that's totally benign, and at any point in the 5, 10, even more years before it turned, if it's destined to turn from benign adenomatous to malignant, a cancer, if at any point you do a colonoscopy, you can pluck it out, and instead of getting cancer, you don't get cancer. So it's not only a diagnostic test, but it's a preventative test for cancer. And even if you have an early cancer, if you find it early, you can have more than 90% cure rate. So get out there and do all the screening and just have it on your mind and live your life, but be aware of it.
Yeah. And John, don't forget about 2 cancers that we don't talk about. And one is testicular cancer. So in a pandemic, if you're a young man, don't forget about a self-testicular exam.
Great.
And then the signs of prostate cancer as well. So let's not, let's not forget about the guys.
Never forget about the guys. No, do self-exam for the guys. And one of the tips that a urologist gave me about finding a testicular nodule is, like, sometimes they're a little cyst, but he said it tends to be a little heavier when that nodule tends to be a little bit heavier. I found several of them over the years. They're obviously, as you get older, it gets less likely. The signs of prostate cancer are tougher because, of course, as you get older, you can have waking up in the middle of the night more frequently, trouble with this urine stream. So those can be just signs of an enlarging prostate, which can happen benignly. I actually do favor getting these screening PSAs, the prostate-specific antigen, even though there's some controversy about it. I think just because it's elevated, that doesn't mean you need a biopsy. That means it's elevated. Now you're gonna think about what to do, but you don't have to just do, because the downside is just over-diagnosis, over-biopsies. Was the cancer was it a rabbit or a turtle? Meaning, most of the prostate cancers that get diagnosed don't actually end up killing somebody, but a bunch of them do. So you're 100% right, Linda. You've got to find that prostate cancer and treat it if it needs treatment.
Yeah.
Well, the end of the story is don't not go to the doctor because of COVID.
Right.
That's sort of what you're saying.
Linda, what's the biggest thing that you would like people to know about, like, who are listening right now?
About COVID?
About cancer follow-up support, about your organization, and especially insofar as, the pandemic has affected it, that you'd like to say, hey, there's a pandemic, but.
Yeah, there's a pandemic, but you can't ignore your own body and the symptoms that your own body is delivering to you. And I do agree with you. So I had my colonoscopy a few weeks ago. My mom's had procedures, and the hospitals do have beautiful procedures in place of taking your temperature and protecting you, protecting their staff. And so I have very little concern about exposure for people that are going into the hospitals. And, I would say if anyone's listening has forgotten anything that you've said, or we've moved too fast through that, again, call our helpline, go on our website, cancersupportcommunity.org, and we have a whole list of COVID information and recommendations, and of course help to actually get to your treatment centers, which is still a big problem. So let us help you with that.
I want to end with an ode to nurses. So when I was you're an oncology nurse, when I was a third-year student, my mentor was Edgar Leifer. He brought me over to Mrs. McCormick on Harkness 10 at Columbia Presbyterian. He said, "This is Mrs. McCormick. She's the head nurse. You listen to everything that the nurses tell you." And he gave me a signed copy of Virginia Henderson's textbook of nursing. It's like 400.
Wow.
He said, "Read this," which I did. And I teach the students now, and I say, look, if a nurse calls you at 3 a.m. and you're sleeping and wakes you up and says, "The patient doesn't look good," that is the end of the conversation. You don't try to talk her out of her instinct. You get up and you go see her, because the nurses are the people who are actually taking care of the patients and know the best, even if they can't even put it into words, which of course they can, even if it's an instinct. They just don't look good. Don't press them. They're right. Go see the patient. So thank you for being an oncology nurse, being a nurse, period. Just thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Wow,
All right.
nice.
Thank you, John. We'll see you. We'll see you next
tomorrow.
week.
Oh,
Well,
next week.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. See you next week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye,
Nice to
Dr.
meet you.
J. Hilarious.
And Linda, thank you so much. We'll bring on Kelly to say goodbye to you, and then we're going to bring on the other cast members.
Kelly, fix the hair.
Yeah.
Fix the hair.
Hey, Kelly.
My name, and I automatically, this is being an actress, right?
You're supposed to say goodbye to me, Kelly, and then you guys are going to talk about more sex scenes.
Okay. Bye, Linda. So good to see you. So good to have you.
So good to see you. Tell
Bye,
Dom I said
Linda.
hi.
Bye, Linda.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
you guys. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, let's bring back on John McCook. Hi, John. And Heather Tom.
Hi.
Here we are back.
Yes.
So we have some cute little clips we wanted to show. Kel, we found this one blooper of you where you mess up a line and basically your excuse is I think you were swallowing your own saliva. I've never really heard that as an excuse, but it's hilarious. Why don't we watch it?
Bitch, please slow down. This road is... I was like inhaling my saliva and everything.
I love when you do that. Inhaling saliva. I can't wait.
I remember that. Oh my gosh. There was an even funnier one, but that was pretty good. No, because sometimes when you like get emotional but I sucked in my saliva into my lungs and I couldn't speak anymore.
Heather, Kelly mentioned in her introduction of you about you being a director. Have you directed Bold and Beautiful? I know you've directed Dynasty, right, on the CW.
Yeah, I've directed 28 shows of Bold and Beautiful.
Wow.
Got another one in 2 weeks, and and then I just finished directing Good Trouble, and then I'm going to go direct 2 more Dynasties in March.
Is there a difference between primetime soap operas and daytime soap operas?
You know, I think that there are certainly differences when it comes to the actual execution of the shooting.
Yeah.
But I think that there's honestly, if you can direct or even act in daytime, you can do anything. I mean, it's like throwing yourself into the fire. And at the end of the day, I just feel like, oh my God, I just feel like I just lit myself on fire all day long. And so I feel like it was just a really great training ground, because especially on daytime, you're really doing a lot of different roles. Like in a lot of ways, we are our own DP. We sit in the edit. We do a lot of things that on nighttime shows, they have people who do those things. And so it's a great training ground. And I love it. And I just love doing soap operas because it's my language. It's a language I speak. I enjoy it. I love the heightened emotions. I love the giant stakes, and everything's life and death, and nothing is casual. And I love that stuff. So yeah.
Heather's right. Bottom line is that if an actor, if you can do a soap, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And I when I was out doing theater in the summers, it was sometimes my reviews would say soap actor John McCook, and I'd go, wait. It's actor John McCook. A soap actor is a very adept and in control person. and a person who has accomplished a great deal, even if they're very young. I think that the young actors who come on our show, it's a trial by fire, as you say, and after a few weeks, you can see them get it. They go, oh, okay, I get it, and they assimilate what is a lot of information to begin with. If
they do or they don't.
Or they don't. That becomes the difference, doesn't it? And so, when a young actor or any actor who's done a year on a soap, let alone 10 or 4, is ready to do just about anything.
Yeah, it's like college. It's like you kind of have to do everything. It's also like summer stock. It's kind of like both. We have to do everything super quickly. It reminds me of when I did 1 week summer stock where you just put up the show and it's like you don't have time for like rehearsal. You just have to do it perfectly.
Yeah, the only thing we don't have to do is beat the sets, but we don't have to do that. But we do everything.
We don't have to do that. But I think the great thing for an actor too is that it really teaches you to make giant, bold choices. Yeah. Because you don't have time to overthink it. You don't have time to get in your own way. And every single thing, like I always say that we don't have time for filler scenes on our shows. We don't, every scene has to mean something and be important. And so as an actor, it teaches you to do that. And honestly, as a director, it teaches you to do that too, to find the ways to tell the story in a dynamic and important way, regardless of, how you're moving that story along. And so I find that to be very fun. Like, it's just, to be able to just be like, there's no wrong choice as long as it's a committed choice. And, as actors, I think that's the ultimate goal, is to be able to commit to your choices and jump in with both feet.
Absolutely.
Our friend Andrea Martin always calls it put your shoulder behind it when you make a choice.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's like the best improv. I mean, it's like to be a daytime actor, it's like you have to be really good at just being on your feet, shot out of a cannon, and trusting that you and your fellow actors have got your back.
And I think honestly, that is one of the great things about this show in particular, is that I've been on many daytime shows, and it's lovely to be in a scene where you really do trust the other person to kind of like bat that ball back to you. And when you're in a scene with somebody like that, you can be free and you can say like, oh, well, I'm going to throw this your way and I'm going to see what you throw back at me. And we're just going to have a fun time in this thing. And I can honestly say that there's no one on this show that I wouldn't feel like, oh, okay, they do have my back in this scene. We are going to have fun. And there are some that I like more than others. They might be on this feed right now, but I think that's very unique about this show in particular.
John, we got to talk to you about theater, because that's where you began. And the little that I read, it said that you were doing this City Center production of West Side Story back in the 60s that I know my friend Kurt Peterson did with Victoria Mallory. So who did you play in West Side Story? We're fascinated. I love that show.
Well, I have to say that I did it at City Center, which is even before the one we were referring to. When you said Vicki Mallory to me, I said yes, because I worked with her on Young and Restless. But I did one before that, and it was Julia McGinnis. Do you know who that is? Julia McGinnis Johnson.
Yes, Julia McGinnis. Of course I do.
Julia was in it, and she did that West Side Story at City Center, not Lincoln Center.
Oh, that's what I got mixed up. It's the center.
And I was in the chorus. I went to New York because I wanted to be Larry Kurt, and I was so excited to get into musical theater there. And I arrived on a bus, and I went to an audition that very afternoon because they were hiring 2 singers to be on the Jets, to help the Jets sing, and it was a larger cast than sometimes they are. And I got cast in that the first day, and I was there. I was in New York City for 7 months, and then I was back in LA. So I moved to New York to get into musical theater, and then I was at Warner Brothers. So I didn't be there very long.
But who saw you, or who how
Jack,
did you make the jump?
I mean, Warner Brothers was going to do a television version of Mr. Roberts, a TV version, and they wanted to see young actors who might play Ensign Pulver. And so I went to their New York offices and auditioned for that. And they said, okay. So they put me under contract. They didn't give me the part, but they said, you got to be in Burbank 6 weeks from now. So I called my mom and I said, I'm coming home, So I went back here I did not get the part, but I worked there and I was under contract. But it was Jack Warner that signed me, and he tried to change my name, and he couldn't because there was, as you say, someone else in the union that had the name he wanted to change it to. I was the last actor put under contract to Warner Brothers by Jack Warner.
Wow.
I don't think that's the reason I was the last one. I don't. But it's a dubious achievement, I would say.
I found this photo of that. This was, I guess, the first movie you made, right when you moved.
Yeah, the first thing they did was throw me on a plane and go up to Monterey and shoot this movie. My blood runs cold with Troy Donahue and Joey Heatherton, and there's Nick Coster sitting there. And in my first line, the first thing I did was that. It was fantastic to have this big camera and to be driving out on the 17-mile drive or whatever that is. It was great. And then I'm back again. All of a sudden, I'm in the movies.
You're in that little sweater. I have your signature line. Here we go. And your name.
Bike's a gunner.
Julie!
I'm sure glad I'm not your insurance agent.
Are you hurt?
Nice. I'm sure glad that your insurance agent.
God.
There it is. I read lines exactly the same now. And I have that same sweater, but I have to wear it on one of my legs. It's
Katherine, we want to talk to you for a second about your traveling, because we heard you've been able to do TV shows like everywhere, like Japan and Greece. Like, what's that about? And how'd you get those gigs?
Not Japan. I don't know what that is. But
I think of the Love Boat last night. I went to Japan. Okay, where? Greece?
Italy? Australia? There were definitely a lot of overlap.
One of the most recent projects I've done out of the States was in Greece, and went to Corfu and did 15 episodes of their #1 TV show in Greece in 5 days. Oh my God. And this is a nighttime show, so we were working around the clock. 15 episodes in 5 days is crazy. I don't know how I survived that, but I had the best time ever, and such an amazing group of people, and everybody worked so fast and so well together. And, it kind of reminded me of The Bold and the Beautiful, but it was a great experience. I really like traveling and doing projects in other countries. I've done a lot of films in Italy and some things in Australia, and so. Do you
speak the language? Do you speak a language? Do you speak Australian? No, but do you speak Greek? Greek?
No, Greek's hard. I studied Italian for a couple years, so I kind of understand it more than speak it. But
we found this Greek commercial and we thought you were going to speak Greek, and then we were sorely not surprised. Here we go.
Το πιο συναρπαστικό φλερτ της Μπρουκ είναι τα αρώμα της. Το κλωσάρ φλερτ. Μοντέρνο, αισθησιακό, γεμάτο θηλυκότητα.
I love to charm people.
Oh my God! I don't even think I've ever seen that.
Oh my gosh! How did you find that?
That was cool. Wow, thank you for taking me back in time. That was crazy. Yeah, that was a commercial I did in Greece. I think it was like the third year, Bold and Beautiful or something. Wow. And the show was huge. When it started, it was huge when they started playing it internationally in all of those countries. I mean, Italy, wow. Greece, and Netherlands. And it's just huge. So they were hiring, to do different
glamorous.
Our show became instantly very popular all over Europe and all over the world when it first went on, because it was only a half hour. All the other soaps were an hour long and they were more expensive to buy. And so all of a sudden we were thrust on the air in Greece and in Italy and in France, all over Europe. And then later in Australia, South Africa, Israel, everywhere. And we've been lucky. We've been able to shoot in a lot of those countries.
Over 100 countries, right?
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, before we wrap up here, we want to remind everyone you can go to StarsInTheHouse.com and donate to Cancer Support Community. You can go to Cancer Support Community if you need help. But because it's Valentine's weekend, Seth, you found a clip of John, right?
Yeah, and a Valentine's Day themed musical play, dance where you're Prince Charming, but you're wearing Martha Washington's wig. What is the Prince Charming? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my, yes, that was it was a musical television show that wasn't very, I'm going to say it wasn't very good. I wasn't very good. I know that. And it was white. I had to put on a white wig and white makeup and very, very exaggerated stuff. I was a little embarrassed, I think.
Well,
great. Let's show that clip.
Heather, we've got it. Seth, just
Yeah,
roll it.
I would hate to, but basically it's John as Martha Washington as Prince Charming. Here we go.
That's right. That's it.
Here's the slipper. Thank you, my friend. Without this, I wouldn't know how to find her.
Oh, you'll find her.
And you'll marry her, and you'll live happily ever after.
Wonderful.
Oh, I love it.
With Dean Jones.
I kept trying to say, I can't, I'm so glad I wasn't her insurance agent, but it didn't work.
Your signature line.
Yeah.
He's got one solid line.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Kelly, before we go, you have some more donations. You want to, did you get a couple?
Okay, so here's a few more. Donating as a frequent Sith viewer. Thanks for the entertainment, James and Seth and Stars. In honor of my sister-in-law, Heidi, and her current colon cancer fight, Joseph. And he donated $25. And then there's another donation from Ted, $100.
Wow.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all so much.
You guys were so fun tonight. All I want to do is be on your soap opera now.
That's
Sounds
right.
like so much fun.
Thank you. You guys,
so
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
do wonderful work. Everything you do is so great. Congratulations to you and
Thank
to
you,
your
John.
research department too.
Research department is just it's just us on YouTube.
All right.
Thank you, Heather and Katherine and Kelly.
And thank you,
John.
Cancer Support Community, for helping put this together. Thank you, Linda. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Here, this is in honor of you, John.
Thank you. No Morning Star.
Yes, that's right. I'm going to